What's going on, guys? JSGC here, and we are here for another Manchester City video. This time we're going to be previewing the Leicester game. I'm currently away still, and so I'm joined by Odin once again. So if he interrupts me, I apologise. So we're going to be previewing this very big Leicester game with Manchester City. We're needing a win. Disappointing result against Crystal Palace. We've got 3 huge games coming up away from home against Leicester, followed a few days later by another big game away against Southampton, and then a difficult home game against Liverpool, who are currently first place. So we're kind of needing 3 wins from 3. That will see us put more pressure onto Liverpool, and will see us be there or thereabouts. Liverpool, of course, they've got an away match coming up against Manchester City. That's their 3rd game, but before then they've got 2 home games coming up against Newcastle, and they've also got another home game coming up against Arsenal. So there's a possibility that they might drop points or not. However, I think it's important that we don't focus on Liverpool, and instead we choose to focus on Leicester, Southampton, and then Liverpool, and focus on only ourselves. So it's important in this game we get a response from the players and from everyone involved at the club. We're able to get a response, do what we can, and get the 3 points needed to bring home, because that's basically what we need to do. We need to just win every single game, keep going and keep going, put the pressure onto Liverpool, and eventually then we'll see where we end up. It's a difficult one. It's one of the first times we've had where it's actually out of our hands. We could win every single game from now to the end of the season, and we wouldn't win the Premier League if Liverpool end up winning all their games but only drop points or lose against Manchester City. So, you know, a couple of difficult games here. Very difficult period, the festive period. You're playing every 3 or 4 days. In my opinion, though, one big mistake we made against Crystal Palace was I didn't feel like we went with a full-strength squad. Which is criminal in a Premier League game. It's easy to criticise. I'd encourage Pep to do some rotation, and I'd encourage him to do a bit of rotation in this game. I just think it's important that you don't start pushing the boat out and start putting players into not unfamiliar positions, but putting them into positions where they're not so comfortable, where teams are going to look to exploit it, like Crystal Palace. They played with pace. John Stones isn't a covering player. He's not Fernandinho. Isn't a player that if a right back decides to go forward like Walker, where he'll slot in there, he's a player that will stick to his position. And John Stones obviously didn't look 100% comfortable. He's a centre-back, and I'd like to see him as a centre-back. For Leicester City, though, they've got to have a lot of pace, just like Crystal Palace did. They've got a very quick attack. They've got players like Gray, who we might not even see in this game, but we've seen what all Brighton can do in the Carabao Cup, where we ended up drawing the game. So a difficult away game there. Just last week, and we ended up drawing the game. So, you know what I mean? This is a very difficult away game where we need to play 100%. We need to be on top of our game, because if we aren't, not only are we going to drop points, we could well end up losing the game. I mean, we've lost 2 out of our last 3 Premier League games. That's not the run of form that we're looking for. So it's very difficult. So we need to respond from that. Having lost, I think, the same amount of games over the last 61 games, I think it was, something crazy like that, and a statistic that in 3 games we ended up losing just as many as what we did in that long period of time. So we're not used to losing, so it's important that we need to respond, and we need to respond well. I'm happy for Man City to play well as long as we win. I'm not too fussed. Now, what the problem we're having at the moment, and we need to be fully aware of this, is we're playing well. We played well against Crystal Palace. We were putting balls into the box. We was having lovely build-up play. How good was the diagonal balls against Crystal Palace, particularly in the first half? We didn't play a bad game. We scored twice. Individual errors ended up costing us a couple of goals, and obviously that worldie, you know, we're nitpicking if we start saying that they didn't deserve that goal. So what we need to do is regroup, recover, work on our defence and positioning, and make sure that when we are allowing chances, that if a player's left-footed, you're forcing them onto the right foot. If the player's right-footed, you're forcing them onto the left foot. Very disappointed with that slump goal from Kyle Walker, allowing him a shot on his left foot. You know that his left foot, you know what he wants to do, you let it happen anyway. So we need to be working on that. We need to have a look at the areas where we can improve on, and we need to force that through in a couple of days. Very difficult. I'll take any win possible, but we need to force that through against Leicester. When all Brighton's going forward, you're showing him onto his weaker side. When Jamie Vardy decides to go and have a run, and trust me, they are going to have a run at our defence. We need to make sure that you play a high line, so when the ball's over the top are coming in, you're running the risk that they're going to be offside, and if they are managing to get into space ahead of our defence, that the defence is ending up recovering. This is where players like, I don't want to nitpick a game, but players like Otamendi runs like a headless chicken, and I saw Kyle Walker in the second half commanding Otamendi, don't come to the man, stay in your position. He needs to recognise that, work on that, and that way then we can get better. So for me, strongest side has to go out. John Stones is in my strongest side, but playing as a centre-back alongside Laporte. I'd like to see a set back four, obviously including Fabian Delph, because we've got no Benjamin Mendy. Other than that, would you play Kyle Walker or would you go with Danilo? Danilo was on the bench, so I'd be quite tempted. Kyle Walker, he hasn't had an impressive season. He had such a great season last season that it's hard to be able to replicate that, but he's had a few good seasons at Spurs that you've come to expect a solid position there. He needs to work harder, in my opinion. He needs to just go back to the basics. So Fabian Delph in the documentary saying just go back to basics, do the simple job of football, and if he can revert back to that, be able to push on from there. If he ends up starting in this game, I'll support him, and obviously that we're looking for him to have a good performance. That will pick his confidence up and we'll be able to go on from there. I'd understand though if we went with Danilo just to give Walker some rest, some respite, time to go over things and work harder and come back stronger, if you get what I mean. Not losing his position, but just need to be able to just give him that little bit of a rest period, for him to be able to push on to that next level. Now, team news for this, very difficult to be able to give team news because considering I've done the video so early. However, I'm real busy on Christmas Eve. I'm not going to be doing a video or filming any videos. I'll have a video up on Christmas Day, but I'm not going to be working. I'm going to be working on that tomorrow and then schedule uploading it for you guys on Christmas Day. And this game's on Boxing Day. I'm not too sure when Pep's going to be doing his press conference. I imagine it might come tomorrow. I'll be working on other stuff by then, so I've decided to do it today. I'm not too sure where we are in terms of Fernandinho. I'm not too sure where we are in terms of David Silva. David Silva scheduled to be coming back within the next week or so. We might be seeing him in a couple of games time, so we've got that to look forward to. But other than that, no Benjamin Mendy, no Bravo. You know, the squad's starting to look a little bit depleted, so we're needing some players to come back. Luckily, we've got Danilo coming back, so I'm happy to go along with that and put him in at right back. Now, it's very difficult, this game, because if we lose this game and Liverpool win, which you imagine Liverpool are going to win a home game against Newcastle, stranger things have happened, but you imagine that they would. We've got to presume that they are. We're both playing at 3 o'clock on Boxing Day. That if we lose and they win, we're facing a situation where we're 7 points behind. If we draw this game and Liverpool win, we're going to end up being in a serious predicament where we're going to be 6 points behind. So we could be 6 or 7 points behind. The gaps could get bigger and bigger from there. We saw Man City do that last season. I'm fearful that Liverpool might be able to do it this season. So we need to be hot on their tails and win here. Try and get a convincing win would be great, but if we could just get a win here, that'd be perfect. Score predictions so difficult. My head's telling me 1-1. We're not playing too well. We're not defending too well, and so we keep conceding. And I'm worried that unless we get 2-0 ahead, then we're forced into a situation that we've got to try and work harder, and we've got to try and make things happen. That's when the bad balls start going into the box. 45 balls went into the box against Crystal Palace, and most of them were just hopeful. But there was a couple of good balls in there, so I just need to work harder, pass it around, work it into space, do the basics, work it through the middle, and try and make things happen. Kevin De Bruyne has got to start in this game, Aguero's got to start in this game. That will give Leicester something to think about. Their defence is busy, and whilst their defence is busy, their attack won't be, and that's when our defence needs to push up and work just that little bit harder, trying to retain the ball, trying to snuff out counter-attacks. And one added point when Stones was playing in that defensive midfield role, what he doesn't do, what Fernandinho does so well is he cuts out attacks. Not only does he give away free kicks, Fernandinho picks up quite a few yellow cards too, but he gives away free kicks that are not in a dangerous position. He just cuts out the attack. We're done. John Stones never did that. Fernandinho, if we can't play in this game, we're going to go with Danilo at defensive midfield, or we're going to go with Gundogan at defensive midfield. We're going to see someone else go there. Fabian Delph, Zinchenko go there. I don't know, but what we need, in my opinion, is some backup for Fernandinho. So January transfer window coming up. I think the Crystal Palace match has shown me firsthand that we need to dip into the transfer market and get some very good cover for Fernandinho. And we need players that can run around, that are versatile, players that can slot into the gaps when defenders decide to go forwards, and also a player like Fernandinho that decides, I'm going to tackle, and if I miss the ball or anything, I'll bring them down. I'm going to bring the down man. I'll bring the man down. I'll end up getting a yellow card. I don't care. I've stopped the attack. You know what I mean? We're looking for that, just that little nitty-gritty in the midfield. We're really missing it. Along with David Silva, that little sprinkle of magician. You know, I feel like once we've got them players back, and we could well have them back coming next week or so, we'll be able to go on from there. We've got a couple of big cup games coming up as well. FA Cup third round and the Carabao Cup semi-final. That's the time for squad rotation. That's the time to start changing things and start making 4, 5, 6 changes. Premier League, I'd be happy to go with either the same squad or 1 or 2 players and just keep things nip and tuck, if you know what I mean. I mean, they've only got to play 3 more games from now. get through this period, try and get the wins, and go from there. Now, my head's telling me 1-1, my heart's telling me 2-1. I'm not too sure. It all depends on how Man City defend, in my opinion. If we can defend well, I'm confident we can get the goals and see out the win. We just need to be a little bit more clinical in the box, and I'm confident if we can have Kevin De Bruyne firing on all cylinders, that we can make things happen from there. So I'm going to pop up my team prediction now for us to discuss. I've gone for Ederson in goal, Danilo if he is fit to play, otherwise I'd go with Kyle Walker 100%. Stones, Laporte and Delph, that has to be the defence of the two centre-backs in my opinion. Now's not the time to start making changes. Vincent Kompany's just coming back from injury too. Now's not the time to just chuck him in at the deep end and hope for the best. We need to go with strategic things that we know has worked, and for the majority of the season, centre-back partnership of Stones and Laporte has been not only fantastic, it's been solid, and it's kept plenty of clean sheets. Now, if Fernandinho can play, I'd put him in, but he can't. Then I'm going to go with Gundogan to go in there, because he's a player that's probably the most familiar with the role, plus it allows then Kevin De Bruyne and Bernardo Silva to play. Bernardo Silva isn't David Silva, however, he's still very good and he can make things happen. I'm confident with the creativity of De Bruyne behind him, it allowed Bernardo Silva then to go and roam into space, which is, you know, where he's at his strongest. He's not a player that's strongest under pressure and trying to make things happen all the time. He's a player that works really well when everyone else is working really well around him. I've gone for Mahrez, Sane and Aguero up front, just purely because Raheem Sterling was looked very leggy and tired in my opinion. Like I said, a little bit of rotation, not full rotation, just a little bit of rotation there. Mahrez didn't start in the last game. I'd make Mahrez start in this game. He's going up against his former club, Leicester. We'll see what he can do. If it doesn't work, bring Sterling on. If Aguero ain't working, you can bring Jesus on as well. But Aguero's coming back. In my opinion, Aguero our best striker. Our best players have to be playing in these Premier League games against Leicester, against Southampton, against Liverpool. We have to be seeing some kind of routine there from the players, and I feel like if we could go along them ways, we can pick up a win here. That'll send us with confidence going into Southampton. Try and build on that. If we can get a win there, then take it from there. But you never know, this is football. Man, there's so much to talk about and think about. It's difficult. But there we go. That's been the video. Hope you enjoyed the video. Sorry for dog interruptions. Like I said, I'm away from home at the moment, so I'm just trying to scramble out videos and get through all these big talking points with you. And hope you're enjoying the video. So leave a big thumbs up if you're enjoying the videos. Subscribe, press the bell, put your push notifications on. Social media links in the description below. I'll keep you up to date with everything that's happening with football in Manchester City. And I'll see you all again for the next video tomorrow. So it's been JSGC. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Peace. Ciao for now.